This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hello, my name's Harrington Boatco. Welcome to this program. Now, it is said that man cannot survive without Mother Earth. And yet, the biggest adversary of Mother Earth is man. So why is it that we are in such a hurry to destroy the very reason that keeps us alive, Mother Earth? Well, it's called progress. Maybe because progress in the last 5-6 decades have gone leaps and bounds. Now, just last week, we heard one of the very astute, successful businessmen, Ricky Razon, who shocked everybody with his short statement saying that progress and democracy don't go very well together. But if you look at the statistics that he was pointing out, it's correct. Authoritarian regimes seem to have gone so much further than where people enjoy more freedoms and say. Now, in our country, well, the economist lambasts us and the president that he is a killer of all sorts. And yet we enjoy one of the biggest and widest democracy and freedoms. We seem to enjoy so much of it that we even allow, well, let's see, all the terrorists to speak. Well, that's the nature of things in the Philippines, and a lot of people don't seem to understand this, especially the foreign media, who may be listening to the Liberal Party, telling them one side of the story and refusing to listen to the other side. Nevertheless, that's the politics of the world, I guess. Now, today, we're going to talk about progress. We're going to talk about energy. We're going to talk about the environment and why energy and the environment, because there's a lot of talk, maybe loose talk, about the Bataan nuclear power plant. I guess the questions are, should we go nuclear for our energy? Because definitely not nuclear because we want to create a weapon, but nuclear for energy, or should we stay away from it? After all, we are only paying millions and millions of pesos every day just to keep that facility, which is dead, which is weird because we're still paying for it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Vin Lava, who's been with us many times in the past. He has been a guest, and we always tackle the concept of environment. Talagang Mr. Environment to si Vin. Hello, Vin. Kamusta? Ito na naman tayong dalawa.
Maghuhuntahan tayo.
Kwentuhan na lang tayo. Makikinig lang naman yung mga yan, di ba? Ano itong pinag-uusapan na naman? Very popular, umiikot-ikot yung Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. There we go. And the Russians are proposing to spearhead the rehabilitation to bring it back into the mainstream power, to provide power. Hindi ka boto, obviously. Let's go straight to the point. You're against it.
Kailan ba natin pinag-usapan yan? 4 years ago?
4 years ago.
Hindi pa nagbabago.
Because you introduced Kelvin Rodolfo to me, I remember, and I had him a couple of times, and he's very anti, but only because, one, there is walang competency in Filipino because of lack of discipline of our engineers, he says. Two, it lies under a earthquake or
It's situated
on
close
a fault.
to, if not on top of a fault.
Yes. And then I brought in Marco Hanco and the UP doctorate, the PhD there. What was his name again? You even know
Dr.
it more.
Arcilla.
Arcilla, yes. Who is on the other side of the fence. And he says that's not true. It's very safe. And even if an accident did occur, it will not be problematic. And yes, we have the competence in our engineers, and we have those that have the discipline. So there were 2 points of views. I never took a position, but that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was never resolved. But ang nanalo obviously is to not rehabilitate it. Ngayon, bumabalik na naman. And even the President, Duterte, seems to be lending an open ear to the development or redevelopment of the power plant. Your points of view?
Well, if we can't run our mass railway transit safely and efficiently and reliably, what more something as complicated and as dangerous as a nuclear plant?
I'll give you that. But before the Liberal Party and before June Abaya and Mar Rojas, who ruined that transport system, because when it was under Sumitomo and the Sobre Peña group, that ran perfectly. Perfectly. Nasira yan in the last 6 years kasi talagang kinaltas nila. Kinahoy nila, hindi nila ginastosan, binulsa pa ata yung pera. As of this morning, may kaso na bumunta sa ombudsman sila Renato Reyes. I know he's not much of a person with integrity there, but the Trend Group, TREN, and some other groups, they filed a case finally with the ombudsman, which will probably not go anywhere because Carpio Morales will always defend the Liberal Party. And, alam mo, grupo ni Noynoy yan, mga liberal eh. And she's not one to go against them. But, binagsakan ng kaso, it was in the news, all over the news this morning. But, it was the incompetence and mismanagement of June Abaya in the group that brought the trains down. Look, LRT is still running much, much better. It's almost 40 years, 38 years na yun eh.
Okay. But, you just need one incident. And what we were talking about, what you started the show with, mas magaling magpatakbo ang authoritarian kaysa sa democracy.
Oo. Well, it seems like that. Kasi ang demokrasya goes through the bureaucracy. And once you bring in the bureaucracy and politics, you have different interest groups, di ba? Gusto ko yung train, pupunta dadaan sa lugar ko, tataas ang real estate dyan, di ba? I mean, personal interests come into play and never the country's interest. Now, which is why the authoritarian, which looks at the bigger picture maybe, like China, mabilis. Singapore, I remember, they decided one day, ayaw na namin yung mga barong-barong. Took them all out, but replaced it with HDB flats. Maybe that's the way to go.
Well, in other things, no? Pero sa nuclear, nagsasara na ng mga nuclear plants. People, countries,
Germany,
China. Lumilipad sila. For example, Norway ba yon yung maraming offshore wind?
ayaw na antay na sila.
Nagsusupply sila ng kuryente outside of their country, just from offshore wind power. It's doable eh. Di ba? Walang risko.
If you listen to the engineers in this country, they will tell you that base load, unless it's coal, fuel, diesel, crude oil, di ba? Or nuclear, you need base load to keep the electricity going. Hindi kaya ng mga yung wind, sun, hindi kaya ng dire-diretso. Even gas, hindi kaya kasi minsan nawawala. Paglabas sa bundok, hindi consistent. Pag nag-off yan, paano mangyayari sa mga compressor ng air condition mo? Ilaw, mawawala.
But we also have geothermal. Ang dami natin volcanoes. You tap the heat of the going down. And you replace the pipes, no? Pero ayun.
You're saying invest more in research and development, at least for sustainable.
Geothermal already runs for us. Andyan ang Tiwi sa Albay, andyan yun doon sa Los
Pero
Baños.
hindi base load, ha?
Ano hindi base load?
Base load ba sila?
Ano yun? The heat. If I'm not mistaken, they pump down the water. It becomes superheated steam. It goes up and runs a turbine.
Ayun.
So that's done 24/7.
Ayun.
Tapos, Pwede rin yung mga mini hydro.
But aren't we doing all of that already or kulang pa rin?
I'm sure there's a lot of potential pa. Kasi ilan lang ang power plant, ang geothermal natin. Tapos yung mini hydro.
Ano maganda gawin sa Bataan Nuclear Power Plant? Hanggang ngayon, binabayaran pa natin yan, ha?
Monumento.
Parang ruins. Yung gaya gusto gawin ni Lenny sa Marawi, gawing ruins na lang. You're really against nuclear energy.
Ang daming alternatives eh. At saka, it's cost-wise, they're equivalent almost eh. But there's also the safety of the people that we have to consider. You know, even countries with who are well organized have accidents. Oh, there was Chernobyl.
Well, yeah, but that was many years ago.
There was Fukushima.
3 Mile Island.
3 Mile Island. These are all developed countries. But, you know, it happened to them.
Miski pa paano, hindi dapat. But what happens when you have intelligent academicians that contest each other? Like, for example, in the environment. Hanggang ngayon sa Amerika, meron mga anti-climate change. Hey, look, President Trump lambasted or took America out of the Paris Accord, di ba, on climate change.
And that's why now they're isolated. Okay, the leader of the climate change movement might well be China. So, you know, they're losing their grip.
Do you believe the world is mismanaged by the leaders that we have today? You think? I mean, you have Xi Jinping. You've got a problem in China when Beijing. You've read how many days that they can't go on the street. They had to stop school and work because of the pollution. It's just happened in India just last week in New Delhi, that people can't even go to school or go out into the open because grabe ang poor air quality.
Yes. Well, a few days ago, 15,000 scientists came out with a statement that we should watch out because humanity might not survive. And these are 15,000 scientists who signed the paper from all over the world. You know, and these are
bakit di pinakikinggan ng mga leaders ng mundo yan, mga yan? Gaya niya, maglalabas sila, gagawa ng statement, magagaling naman, edukado lahat aral. And yet, hindi pinakikinggan. Ano yan, kabobohan ng mga leader natin?
Hindi, mga personal na interest na siguro yun. For example, si Trump, maraming mga negosyo yan. Tapos yung mga nasa paligid niya. Look, the fossil fuel industry has been around since the start of the 20th century. So, and in democracies, kung sino may pera, you know, to run for Congress or for a seat or a position in government, you need to spend money. Where will you get your money?
But where do you hold back? Where does the argument begin and end when you have the environment as a sensitive position, and then you have progress, and then authoritarian, di ba? Authoritarian para, you know, to reduce the politics, di ba? Because, you know, it's like Congress. You go into Congress, you've got 300 bright boys who are all wealthy, and, di ba, banggaan yan. You got egos. So, okay, you have politics versus vis-a-vis authoritarian government. You've got progress versus poverty in the poor, di ba? Okay, and then you've got the environment. So, paano mo iba-basketball yung tatlo na yan, ano?
Well, each individual, each of us must realize that, you know, where we're going. If we don't watch out, we will be extinct. This has been described, we're living in what has been described as the Anthropocene stage, or the stage where mankind exerts a large effect on nature. Okay? Tapos we're in the middle of a sixth mass extinction. We're losing the fish in the sea.
Tinatakot mo ako, Vin.
Our carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere are constantly increasing. Can we adapt to that? Tapos because of this global warming, we're getting more powerful typhoons. And then
So
the
what
dots
you're
are being connected.
So what you're saying
Kailangan
is,
tayo individually magbago.
so you're saying, down with government, or what you call authoritarian or democracy, if necessary, down with progress, industrialization, economics, if necessary, and first and foremost, protect the environment, is what you're saying.
No. Well, we have to be people-centered also, no? Kasi people and nature-centered. Kasi we're not the only creatures around, and we're just one of many. But it behooves us to take care of our house. Huwag nating gibain sa nanggagaling pagkain natin.
Bakit ang tao, he is the biggest adversary of Mother Earth? Ba't kaya? Why are humans, why is man the biggest deterrent towards the maintenance or keeping the environment in better condition? Ba't kaya?
We're detached from it.
We take it for granted.
Nakatira tayo sa mga bahay.
But surely you don't want to live in a tree.
Well, our ancestors did.
I know, but just because they did, I still enjoy running water and flushing the toilet when I'm done. I mean, I don't think I want to go back to the days I have kaibo, di ba? Yung magdidig ka.
Mag-iigib ka.
Oo, di ba?
Hindi.
Wag naman.
But the thing is, detached na tayo from our natural environment. We live in our houses, get up in the morning, have breakfast.
Cold water.
Cold water, coffee, get into our cars,
Move around.
drive off.
But isn't that progress, economics? Isn't that good?
Well,
I mean, isn't man supposed to better himself in his environment so it could be for the betterment of man? So
Well,
mali yung statement na yun, dapat betterment of environment and reduce betterment
of the planet.
of the planet.
Planet na natin yan. Our planet is an ecosystem.
Correct.
Di ba,
You said that before.
we're an ecosystem, so we have to take care of it.
Vin, we're going to have to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, where do you begin the argument towards maintaining your space, the environment, Mother Earth, which we require, because after all, that's where we live with, and man, that due to his progress and his efforts to improve his life, destroyed the very environment that we require to have to live in? Where do we find peace, or where do we find that thin line, if it even exists? Where and how do we discipline mankind to be able to maintain his environment? But then again, aren't we out to improve ourselves? Which is why you've got Silicon Valley, you've got innovation, you've got TV, electricity. We may take a lot of things for granted, but isn't it for the improvement of man? I mean, can you work without the internet today? I mean, gee, Vin, you're one of them. You're stuck to the internet. I mean, for information, for everything else. Now, we can identify and see and watch in the middle wars, for example, the war in Iraq. We saw it on television. Now, where do we stop? Do we stop the improvement of man? Or do we keep on going? Or, like you said, go back to nature? What? Having to burn wood to keep us warm? Stay with us. We'll be right back.